Hi, welcome to my channel. First of all, if you clicked on this video, I just want to say thank you for clicking. Thank you for subscribing. For those of you who have commented and left likes, um, I truly appreciate it. And so thank you again. Second of all, if you clicked on this video, you see the title. I will be talking about how I overcame my intrusive thoughts. And so I just want to let you know first and foremost that you are the sweetest, loving, strongest person ever, because to deal with such thoughts is not easy at all, and I wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy. So you're awesome. I just want to let you know that. Before I get started, I want to, of course, put my disclaimer that I am not a licensed therapist nor doctor. I'm just simply sharing with you all what I did to recover from intrusive thoughts. So I have to put that out there. Okay. So yeah, as you can see on the title, I will be talking about intrusive thoughts today. So this is specifically, like I said, for those who are struggling with intrusive thoughts. This is for you, and I pray and hope that you get some type of relief from this video, that you get something from out of this video. Really do pray for that. And so yeah, let's get into it. So my goal in this video is for for you to get some relief from those intrusive thoughts, and to basically get your brain programmed to not pay them any mind, right? So I don't really want to get into the meaning of intrusive thoughts, but in case you don't know, intrusive thoughts are, I like to think of them as our fears. It's just things that anxiety brings up, puts a spotlight onto. Things that we probably never even thought of until you have anxiety. Like, it's the weirdest thing ever. Because for me, like I mentioned previously, like I've never uh, had anxiety. And so it wasn't until I had anxiety that all these other things started to come along with it. And the main thing was intrusive thoughts. So it wasn't until I got anxiety, that intrusive thoughts came to the surface. So I want to say that to this day, I have overcome them. And so that's what I'm going to share with you, okay, today, how I did that. So step number one, exactly what I did was, I am a firm believer that, with journaling is so therapeutic. Like, I always love journaling. And so I used that in my recovery process. So that was like the first thing I did. I just journal those thoughts to get them out of my head, and just put them on a piece of paper and just staring at them in the face, right? Because I always heard of the saying, face your fears. So that, for me, that's how I faced them. So that was the number one thing I did. I journaled them. Whether you want to journal them on your phone, because some of the nature of these intrusive thoughts are very alarming, very disturbing. So if someone comes across them that doesn't know anything about intrusive thoughts, they might be alarmed. So that's what I did. I just went ahead and journaled them on my phone, and I wrote down every single one of them. Okay. And then what I did was, next to the intrusive thought, I wrote down my response. Okay, Curly Tina's response of what I would say to that thought if it was a person. And so I wrote it down, and I just went out of town. Like, I just so let me give you an example where one of the most common intrusive thoughts that I found people have is like harming others, or maybe harming yourself. So I would write that down, and then next to it, I would say something like, I would never hurt anybody. I love people. People are so nice to me. Like, I'm a loving, like, no, like, that's crazy. Like, I would never, ever do that. And I found that doing this, it was kind of like me getting myself unstuck from that thought, like, if that makes sense, because that's what intrusive thoughts are. It's like you just get stuck into that thought. So that's how I got myself out of that thought, right? So I wrote down my answer next to the intrusive thought, and then I just repeated that. Like, I repeated that until I drilled it in my head, until I got my brain programmed to know that response. So that brings me to my next point, my next step, which was, I would purposely bring the intrusive thought up, and along with my response. So I would sit down with the thought, and I would try not to freak out, and I would just think about it and just repeat it in my head. Repeat it, no, I would never do that, da 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 da, and I just repeat it till I felt myself bringing down my sensitivity level towards that thought, right? And so the next thing I would do is I gave my intrusive thoughts a name. So that separated me from the intrusive thought. What I named mine was fears, my fears. And so every time one would pop up, I would just say, "Oh, that's just my fear popping up. That's one of my fears popping up." And then I would again have my response ready. Excuse me. I would have my response ready to what to say to that thought, right? And so, yeah, that would bring me to my next step, which is do not panic when these thoughts pop up. Do not panic. Do not react with fear, because fear is what gives these thoughts power. It's what feeds them, and they're gonna always look for it, right? And that's how you get OCD-ish from it, because it looks for it and it looks for your fear. So do not panic. Just don't panic. Just be like, just see it and just have your response ready and say, nope, I know who I am. I'm sticking to who I am. I would never want to do that. That's so disgusting, yada yada yada. And you just keep doing that. My next point is it's so important to accept your fears. Accept it. Like, just accept it. Don't fight with it. Just be like, yep, I am so scared of that thought, so let's not think about it. I don't want to think about that thought. Let's get rid of it. Let's get rid of it. Let's turn the channel. Okay? I just always like to think of that way. Like, just change the channel. You know, your brain has many channels. And with anxiety or intrusive thoughts, it likes to get stuck in that channel. So you want to turn the channel and go on about your day. And that's it. Don't obsess over it. Don't overthink it. Don't do any of that, because that's gonna give it more power. That's how you keep the power. You don't panic. You don't feed it. You just be like, we ain't doing this today. So definitely acceptance, right? Just agree with it. Agree that you're afraid of it, that it's just your fears, and we're not going to obsess about it. We're not going to think about it. We're just going to dismiss it. Okay. The next thing I did was I would just turn a negative into a positive. So I started looking at my intrusive thoughts in a positive way. Like, I would say things like, okay, like I'm actually glad, like I'm afraid of such things. Like, it would be definitely a problem if I was sitting here liking these thoughts. Like, that's when it's a problem. That's what separates people that have intrusive thoughts from psychopaths. Like, psychopaths actually like those thoughts. People with intrusive thoughts don't like those thoughts. So that's the big difference. So you're not a psychopath. You're not a bad person, I promise you. And so I started looking at it that way. And that kind of release, the grip that it had on me. And my sensitivity levels just kept coming down and down. And I was just like, I'm glad. Like, no, I'm glad I actually have these intrusive thoughts. Sorry, I was a net here. I would be like, I'm glad that I have such horrible thoughts. That's a good sign. It's a good sign. So remember that, okay? The next other thing I did was I exposed myself to whatever that intrusive thought was saying. Like for example, like with the what if I harm someone that I love or whatever, I would never I would never hide myself or stop being around people that I love. Like, no, that's like the worst thing you could ever do, because that's you reinforcing the fear. That's your saying, like, you telling your brain, like, you're right. Like, yes, like, no, like, expose yourself to whatever that intrusive thought is saying. And your brain is going to see, like, okay, like, this is not something bad. Like, this is something should be afraid of. So definitely exposure. Absolutely. The next thing I would do is I would have like a code phrase ready. So what I mean is, like, for example, when intrusive thought would want to pop up, I would say something like, I don't fear you, I fear God. You know what I'm saying? Like, I would like put it to shame. And I would say like, I don't want to think about that. Like, let's not think about that. Let's change the channel. Like I said, I would just have something ready for it. And that was just teaching my brain to react that way. You know what I'm saying? And so that helped a lot. Also, I would find distractions. I just kept busy, just keep doing what makes you happy. That is so important with whatever type of anxiety you're dealing with. Like, just keep yourself busy, keep doing what makes you happy, and I promise you, it's all a matter of getting your brain programmed to how you want it to be programmed, you know. And so that's what I did. I would, I don't know, like go watch my favorite show or watch a movie or watch like comedy. Like I became really big on watching funny movies because laughter, like, it's the best medicine, literally. So I just kept myself busy from having those crazy thoughts, and you know, I'll put them to shame. Another thing I did was I took GABA supplements, um, because I read when I was doing my research that GABA is like the neurotransmitter that's able to fight off, switch those intrusive thoughts, like, you know, fight them off. And so it did help as well. Like I truly believe it helped me because I'm good now. Like I feel like I do have a faster response to switching from those intrusive thoughts. So I took GABA supplements. Um, and you know, the last thing I did, you guys, honestly, I just felt like intrusive thoughts was something that it was like above me, right? I felt like I needed a higher power to help me with that. And that was God. Like that's when I turned to God. And I felt like my spirit was being attacked. And I'm not trying to get too religious here because I'm not, it's not about that. It's just more spirituality. But I did turn to God, you guys, and I just started reading the Bible. And journaling made me realize that my intrusive thoughts were from the world, like all the bad, evil stuff that happens in the world. And you know, only God can give us peace of mind. And yeah, that's what I did. I just turned to God, and until this day, He's steady showing me ways, or if you know, He's steady helping me with my anxiety when it tries to come up. But I want to say now today, I'm doing much better than what I was 9 months ago when you see my first video there. And all thanks to God. And definitely also, you guys, do your research, study anxiety, study intrusive thoughts, watch other people's testimonies about how they recover from anxiety. And yeah, you're gonna be all right, I promise you. There is a light at the end of the tunnel, you guys. So that's pretty much all that I did to recover. If you guys have any questions or anything, please feel free to ask me in the comments below. But I believe that's all that I did. And thank you so much again for stopping by. Thank you for your time. And I absolutely pray, like I said, that this video helped you in some type of way. Because life is meant to be lived, you guys, not to be stressed, not to be anxious. And so I want you to do that. Okay. And so till next time, you guys, y'all take it easy, and sending you lots of love and peace.